All right, fantastic. Thank you for joining us today. So thrilled to see so many of you passionate about the filmmaking. My name is Henry. I'm one of the enrollment advisors here at AIT, and I would like to also introduce our educator for film and video, Dean. Hi, Dean, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Henry, how are you?
Very good, thank you. We have also Thijs, who is looking after international students and their inquiries. Hi, Thijs.
Hey, hello, everyone.
And also one of the AIT graduates, Paige. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
Now, Paige will talk to us a little bit more about her journey later on. And last but not least, we have Anthony, who is another enrollment advisor in Sydney. Hi, Ant.
Hello, how you going? So I'll be sort of headlining the chat as well while this is going. So it's already firing off a fair bit. But just a quick reminder, just to change at the little top there when you go to write something in the chat, just to change it to everyone or change it to all panelists and attendees so everyone can see the same question. Then I'll pop on at the end and we'll have a bit of a chat. All good.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Ant, for that. All right, so let's get things going. Dean, let's start with the bank and see the magic that are happening in the classes. Why don't you share with us the project you want to showcase?
Sure, no worries. Let me just get this up and running. Okay, can everyone see my screen clearly? I assume that is a yes. Excellent.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Great, because my Zoom has disappeared. I might need some encouragement via audio. So, hi everyone. My name is Dean. To reiterate, I am the film educator at Melbourne campus, and I'm also a visual effects specialist. So today, right, using After Effects, I'm going to show you what you can do with a typical green screen shot that you can film in the comfort of your own home with, say, a green curtain and some tracking markers. So this is the original plate we will be working with, and we want to say get to a result fairly similar to this. Now, because we only have 15 minutes to do this, I have already done some pre-work, so there are some steps that I will skip in, the grand scheme, because we just don't have hours to watch rendering bars or watch tracking markers do their thing. So let's begin, right? When we start with something like this, we will create a new composite, right? We want to obviously get stuck into it by keying out the green screen, but the issue is, okay, because it's a moving shot, we need to track these markers so that when the shot does move, our background that we do comp into this will stick to the moving background. So the first technical process we will do, and probably the only major technical process we will do, is we will track motion. So we will get a tracking marker going for one of these, and let's just see if there's another tracking marker we can get that will help. Probably a better idea to do this one down here so it's not in the way. All right. That looks fine to me. And I think we'll only track just one marker for now. And we will go new null object so we can at least give the tracking data to another layer, and I will hit analyze forward. And what this will now do is this will track frame by frame, right, which is a necessary process if we have a moving shot. If it's a static shot, there's no need to track it. You can just key the green screen and then remove the markers as is. So I'll just pause that for a sec, move the screen up and keep going. All right, it's doing very well. I've usually had, oh, there we go. All right, and sometimes you can see here your tracking marker might decide to go for a bit of a walkabout. But if that does happen, all you need to do is drag it back and keep going. So we're almost there. All right, so there we go. So if I now scroll backwards and forwards, you can see our track point has pretty much been nailed to the tracking marker. And I will hit apply, dimensions X and Y, and now our null object that we have here, okay, will stick to the tracking marker, which is perfect. So the next thing that we would want to do is obviously paint these markers out. Now, as I said, like any other cooking show, here's something that I have prepared earlier, which is the exact same shot, but without these troublesome tracking markers everywhere. And you do this by using a cloning method that you would use, you know, in Photoshop by taking a bit of the green screen and sticking it on the marker. And you do that every single frame, right? Time-consuming process, but absolutely necessary. So let's now create a new composition with this. And we will go back to the plate, grab this null object, and stick it on top. So we've still got that tracking data that we'll use for the background. Now, let's get rid of this green screen. So we'll go Effects and Presets. Let's try and find a decent keyer, like Keylight 1.2. And we will key out the most like median of green colors in this shot, which is about there. So you can now see that if I go to Screen Matte, right, the white areas are the areas that are opaque that should stay, and the black areas are the areas that should disappear. Now, because we've got a lot of like contamination in this white, we need to refine this matte to make it a bit, we call it crunchier. So really fill in these gaps and really ensure that we have nothing but black in the background. So let's increase that. Screen matte, clip white backwards, clip black forwards, play this back. Okay. And that's not so bad. A few holes here and there, right? And I can supplement that with another matte, but that looks like that's fine. So now when we go back to final result, right, you'll notice that we effectively have Iron Man cut out, okay? And this is great. So, right, what we will do is we'll go and find our background. Now, here is a background that I have already created. So I created this environment or these buildings in Unreal Engine, and I got quite a number of 2D animated assets like the smoke, these cars, these bits of damage. You can see these bricks everywhere and this fire in the background, okay? And this is just like a flat video. And this will be our background, okay? But the issue is if we get this background and we chuck it in here, right, look what happens. Iron Man moves and jumps around, all right? But the problem is that the background doesn't move, okay? So one thing we can do to get around this is we get the background and we attach it to that null object, which is where our tracking data is. So if I now get this and I attach it to null 1, all of a sudden you'll see that the background starts to move. That's great. The only problem is that it moves a little too high. So we can use our transformation tools to just make some readjustments. All right, let's see how that looks. Probably a little more. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Getting there. I might just maybe move over to the, yeah, just make sure we've got to get the perspective correct. Nice. All right, cool. So another thing, Iron Man is really, really red. All right. And one of the most important aspects of visual effects compositing is ensuring that your foreground elements match up with your background elements. And that is in regards to color. So we are going to go and find our Lumetri color. All right. And we'll just put that on our Iron Man cleanup MOV. And we just want to try and desaturate him a little bit and maybe bring down his exposure just a tad and maybe change a bit of his color temperature too. Okay. maybe reduce some of his saturation, and some of that warmth. Okay, that's a bit better. So in comparison, right, the before and after is already pretty significant. And now he looks, I mean, there's a bit more work to do, but it looks like he matches the plate a lot better than he did. Okay. All right. And now comes the fun stuff. So one thing I will just do is that looks correct. We've got a number of visual effect elements in here. Or at least I thought I did. Sorry, let me just go grab them. Oh, yeah, they are here. My bad. So we've got some muzzle flashes that we're going to use and chuck on top. So for every single one of his blasts, so we've got one there, right? So we've got some of these muzzle flashes from a website called Production Crate, which you can get free resources from. You can also subscribe to it. I'm a subscriber, so I can grab whatever I want, whenever I want. And let's throw in a couple of these and comp them on top of each other. So that starts there. We will start with that. Okay, make sure that that's screen. And then for the next one, a bit smaller. And these are blending modes. And let's just grab the actual bolt that he'll be firing. And we'll make that just a little bit bigger and a little bit fatter. Flip it around. Chuck that there. And I'll just use toner to ensure that we've got the right colors going. Gold and then screen. All right. So that's one there. Good. And what we can do is we can actually grab these, duplicate them, and move them along this way. And I'll just one, two, and make sure this is shooting in the right direction. 3. And last one is down here. Control D, move this along. So this will start there. And then grab that and that. Excellent. So when we play it back, 1, 2, 3. I might maybe just increase the size. Oh, that will be fine. That'll be fine. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. They could afford to be bigger. Obviously, there's a lot more time for fine tuning and tweaks, but let's mosey on over. There is one extra thing that I've got, and I've actually got what's called a glow mat. So this is something that I had rotoscoped previously, which are the eyes and the arc reactor on his chest. And what we'll do is we'll just use a couple of glows to give it some oomph. And then we can use the screen, and then all of a sudden we've got that now. So he's looking all right. Okay. Now for the final touch, some sound. Now, After Effects is not generally a software package that you use for sound design, but for reference sounds, you can absolutely work with it. So let's start with a bit of ambience in the backdrop. And we'll just make sure that it's nice and quiet. So we're at -10 decibels. Okay. Now let's do these Repulsor Blasts. So we've got number 1, which we'll have at the start. So he'll fire pretty much just one of them. And you can use, if you can go down and see the waveform of each one. So I'll bring that in so it starts there. And I'll go -5 dB. And let's build up some blasts. So 1 sound effect blast for every that'll do. And we'll expand on these. They won't just be these punchy booms. -4. And I'll just repeat these. So 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. So bang, bang, bang. Excellent. We've got something else that we've got that we will add for flavor. There we go. So -7 because that's quite loud. And then laser 3. It's got a nice whip to it. That can be number 2. It's not pretty listening to someone work through sound design because you hear the same sounds repeating every every few milliseconds. And I think we've got this charge and blast that we can use too. But we're not going to use that wind up because we already have the arc reactor doing its thing. Okay, and I think I may have just made time. That is how you can quickly whip up yourself a composite in about 15 minutes.
Thanks so much, Dean. That's so cool to see what you can create in such a short amount of time. Really, really find it useful. It takes me all the way back to Avengers. Now, let's kick things off with a couple of inspiring stories about our film graduates. This is something that we are obviously very proud of here at AIT. Can I just confirm with you, Dean, while you are still having mic on, if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. So let's start with BJ, who has gone on to be a director, producer, cinematographer, editor, and animator for various music videos and short films for multiple agencies since graduating with his Bachelor of Interactive Media in 2015. Audrey is a video editor and director working with brands, small businesses, and agencies all around Australia to produce branded content, TV commercials, and videos, including Qantas, David Jones, Red Bull, and Ubisoft Australia. She graduated with Diploma of Interactive Media in 2010. Qataiba is a digital content creator and social media influencer with thousands of followers. His YouTube channel currently has around 3 million views. Q graduated with Bachelor of Interactive Media in 2019. Robert has just taken on an amazing opportunity with Aquarius Films, working on the SBS TV series The Usual Suspects. Robert is working as an assistant editor with award-winning editor Katharina Parker. Now, Bailey is working on the Emmy Award-winning production Nowhere Boys at Matchbox Pictures. And Paige, who is with us today as well, as I mentioned earlier, won the best film at the Ait Motion event in 2019 for her film Wonder, and is now a proud partner of a digital content creating a small business called Untitled Creation based on Melbourne. There is so much diversity in the skills you will learn that will allow you to produce content for all digital platforms. The course is making you more adaptable to take on different roles. Some of them would be storyboard artist, branded content creator, as well as cinematographer, editor, or even a director. We teach for job placement and have 77% of employment rates. Now, this is something that is huge for our students, especially working in a creative industry. Sometimes students and their parents are questioning, is there enough opportunities in Australia for the students to actually, get a job eventually? We are the proof that there is plenty jobs offered for the students, for the graduate students. And obviously our dedicated department is focusing on these placements that are having such a high rates of employment eventually. Our grads are working at these Sydney and Melbourne-based agencies such as Matchbox Pictures, Creative Foundry, Mind Console and Creativa, and many others. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the course structure. The Diploma of Interactive Media is the first year of the degree program in which you cover 8 subjects. The associate degree is usually 2 years and you cover 16 subjects. And lastly, you can obviously do the whole bachelor degree that is taking you all with 24 subjects over a 3 years period. Or you can get your bachelor degree faster by completing all 24 subjects over 2 years in the accelerated program that we have. Each subject is a 3-hour class per week plus 1 hour of study on your own at your own pace. And you can take up to 4 subjects per term, which will be 4 classes per week. Our course fee for domestic and international students, you can see on the slides, are shown here. And obviously for the domestic students, we are fully approved by Fee Help, which is one of the government's help students loan programs. Our courses are delivered in face-to-face mode. Obviously, from next year, it's all going back to face-to-face. And our students will also have a chance to join virtually. Now, Dean, can I have you back for a moment and tell us a little bit more about the cool subjects students will be doing throughout the course?
Yep.
Fantastic.
I cannot activate my web camera. I do not have permission, but at least my microphone's up. Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
So, sorry, was it the slide before or this one?
There you
Fantastic. Cool. So the way in which the course is structured for BIM Film is that in your first couple of semesters, you are doing core units that you will be sharing with other students enrolled in the other streams. So you can see that in your year 1, despite the fact that you've also, that you'll have shooting and editing and digital storytelling, you'll also be dipping your fingers in the pies of animation and games as well, right? This is due in part because in this current day and age, it is very important for you to be versatile. Whereas back in the day, right, it was all a matter of being a specialist. To be a content creator and a digital artist nowadays, there is an expectation that you should know some pretty base skills. For example, right, it's pretty expected that everybody should at least know how to do some basic composites in Photoshop. So you'll get some experience doing some very core baseline animation classes as well as game design as well. And as you progress through your course into your second year and third year, you start to develop a specialization. So you can pick up more minor units and more elective units that are more specific to the actual film degree. So things such as the advanced screen production, commercial film. You've also got motion graphics, visual effects, documentary production, so to speak. And then you end up in the Forge, which is your very last flagship, flagstone or capstone project at the end of your degree, where you will collaborate with other departments, such as the animation department, to work together to create one mega project. I think that covers it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Can you just talk a little bit more about the Forge project? Because that's one of the pinnacles, obviously, of the bachelor degree as well.
Yes. So at the end of the last 2 semesters that you do in year 3 has a very heavy emphasis on your Forge project, as well as getting you industry ready through what's called the Launchpad, which is a subject that you undertake to help brush up your CV, your website, your portfolio, and you undertake mock interviews just to get you warmed up and ready for, industry liaising and work, so to speak. One of the greatest things about the Forge projects is that they are relatively epic in scale compared to your other smaller projects that you will do in the lead up. And if you use the opportunity to submit them to film festivals, depending on, the topics of the genres of the films that you do make, then, generally you are in the running to win awards. We also host what's called Ait Motion Awards, which is a nice big cinema screening night of all the best works in the animation and film streams, and students are eligible to win, nominations and awards for the work that they've done too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dean. Oops. Awesome. So in the 4 subjects that we mentioned earlier and then we was just talking about, there are some of the past panelists from within industry who provide critique and praise and overall feedback to students about their work in the subjects. So this is some of the really exciting stuff that we do for our students in their year 3. We also have a scholarship award given to both domestic and international students for each intake. For domestic students, this will award you with 50% off your first and your last term fees. I strongly encourage everyone to apply for the scholarship if you have already applied to study with us or thinking of applying in our upcoming intakes, which is the one in February. You need to reply to the brief and get creative to show us how your idea is the best one and how you deserve to win. But the team will be dropping links to the scholarship details into the chat window for you now. You can also find these details on the AIT website. Now, we mentioned this a few times today already, but just to double confirm, the intakes for each year are February, May, and September, and we are taking applications for all of these fees, for all of the intakes now. How to enroll? There are actually 3 easy steps how to do this. Lots of people were asking about this in the chat today as well. All you have to do really is to apply, submit your documents, then complete your fee help details if you are a domestic student, or for the international students, our team will help finalize your visa application so you can get in touch with them as well. If you do want to join us on this journey, you can jump on our website, which is ait.edu.au/apply now, or for international students, just email us at international@ait.edu.au. Now, I would like to bring back on screen Paige, who is our graduate. How are you, Paige, today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm very good as well. Thanks so much. Can I please ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you? What did you study at AIT and when did you finish? But kind of also, what are you up to now?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Paige, as you know. I graduated AIT with the Bachelor of Interactive Media in 2018. I loved film. I've always loved film, so I really wanted to do some more education in that because I knew it was going to be my career path. And yeah, since graduating, I co-own a film, graphic design, like an all-round creative content kind of business where we do video production, photography, basic 2D animation, graphic design, website design, all sorts of things. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Paige, we have talked today about how AIT prepares you for the industry by giving you a diverse skill set that allows you to tackle a broad range of challenges. Can you talk a little bit more about how that helped you when you were studying with AIT?
Yeah, for sure. So from beginning to the end of the course, there was I was learning all sorts of new skills throughout the whole course that focused on different areas, which have definitely helped me in my business. As I said, it's covering a lot of bases, lots of which we learnt in the Bachelor. But yeah, the skills that I definitely value the most are ones that we gained from the Forge, being able to actually dive into the actual way of arranging films and like the production of the film and everything like that. Whereas the films that we did beforehand in year 1 and 2, they were amazing to get to know the basics of it. And then by the Forge, when the Forge came around, we were absolutely diving into it and definitely stuck with our roles more. We got a little bit of budget. So it was like a much bigger project that we definitely learnt more about the way that films are made within the industry. Obviously not to a feature Hollywood film standard, but it was definitely something that we took on into our business, which is amazing. So
that's awesome. Now, I know AIT is known for having really large focus on the project-based kind of work. Could you tell me a little bit more the value of it when you are studying and obviously now as a working person? How did that progress and help you in a way that the course is way more focused on the project-based work rather than theory?
Yeah. So the practical learning side of the course is what really enticed me in the first place to actually apply to AIT. And once we obviously I'm graduated, and looking back on it all, it really helped having all of that practical experience compared to just a theory, like a theoretical experience where I might have done a couple of project-based works in other universities, but at AIT it was like project after project after project, which was amazing. And it's amazing to have all of these films in my back pocket after I've graduated, because I've got so much to show through my portfolio. And I was able to learn different kinds of, each film that we did, we were able to kind of switch roles a bit. So I had experience doing editing and producing. And then in the final Forge film, I was the writer, co-writer and director. So having different experience in each kind of aspect of the films was amazing as well. And it was great to collaborate with everyone and, build up good teamwork and contacts and everything throughout the different projects, because we had different teammates that we were working with and different mentors and everything. So it was great to really dive into it.
I think you mentioned there such a good point about, the projects actually equals your portfolio eventually. Yeah. And many people sometimes don't realize it when you work on it, because you look at it as a task to do, but then that actually builds up your portfolio when you are applying for positions as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's very handy to have all of that experience behind you as well.
Awesome. Now, lots of students tend to ask about the connection with the industry. This is something that is obviously really important for them. So can you tell us a little bit more about how Iit connected you to the industry? We mentioned earlier the internship, but were there other things that were kind of playing a role in this?
Yeah, well, we were able to go to a few master talks, so places that we could go and see different people from the industry talk about their work and things like that. And we also had a few events at AIT that were great for also other people to come from the industry and to connect with them and see what they've done on the big screen. But definitely the internship was something that I will value for a long, long, long time. It was a big goal of mine to be able to work on set of a TV show, and that's what I ended up doing for my internship. I was in the art department of the series Nowhere Boys, and that was an amazing experience to be able to be on set and like just have the opportunity to meet all of those different people. And the heads of the art department, the production designer and the art director, Simon and Tony McCutcheon, they were absolutely amazing, and they helped us so much with just being able to talk to them about being who they are, their jobs, and being on set doing these TV shows, their experiences. And we definitely got a lot of contacts out of it, and it's something that I'll definitely remember because I was able to learn so much through it as well. So that was a great opportunity that I was really happy with.
That sounds pretty good. Now, obviously, since you graduated, now you are working, you're in a different space, but looking back on your study for people who are considering this type of option, right? What do you think is the most important, valuable things when you're looking at back where you were studying with us?
Yeah. I'd say definitely the practical hands-on kind of learning, as I was saying before, about the project-based work instead of just theory. That was something that I definitely valued a lot, and definitely something that I was looking for in a uni. And also the one-on-one time that we had with the lecturers, because obviously AIT isn't as big as like the bigger universities, at least here in Melbourne. So to be able to have the one-on-one time with my lecturer in a smaller kind of class and actually getting to know my fellow students and getting to work on things together, it was amazing. And with the lecturers as well, they obviously knew the industry, they knew what they were doing, they'd been in the industry for some time, and so they knew how the industry works, and it was great to have them as mentors because they got to know me and they were able to tell me what I need working on, and encouraging me to do the things that I love. And with my talents, like the talents that I had, they were able to kind of encourage me in a way that I think other bigger universities, you wouldn't get that personal experience. So that's definitely something that
that's a good point as well. So what Paige means here is that our classes are usually around 25 students maximum. This obviously allows you to have a way more intimate feel when you are talking to Educator and even collaborating with the students as well. Now, Paige, the fun bit's coming. Would it be possible for you to showcase some examples of the type of work you have produced across different areas?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
yeah, what we just saw there was our little show reel on our website. So that had a big mix of things that we've done. Some of them we did with like in uni, and some of them we've done since we've created our business, which was in 2019. Yeah, so lots of work there. You could see some wedding shots, some more artsy shots. There was things that we worked on within uni, like our documentary and our major short film from like the Forge short film. And yeah, so we've basically, since creating our business, worked a lot alongside with like corporate kind of businesses, as well as more personal jobs that we've done, with like weddings and different event videos and stuff like that. But we definitely have a big tie within like the small business kind of community. We created like a project last year called Promoting Fawkner, which is, we're based in Fawkner in Melbourne, and we got really hit hard with COVID. So a lot of the time when we were locked down for so long, the cases here were extremely bad, and there was a lot of things happening with COVID, and the small businesses were struggling. So we wanted to create a project to provide free content to small businesses that needed it, so that they could up their online kind of game, instead of, because they obviously weren't going to be getting foot traffic and everything like that through the lockdowns. So there was a few clips in there that we did for promoting Fawkner as well, one of them being Fawkner Commons, which is like a food relief program in Fawkner that provided food to those who needed it in and out of the pandemic. But yeah, it was good to be able to help out small businesses and everything. So that's some of the things that we've done anyway.
I can imagine each time frame of the project will be really different, depending how big it is. But regarding, like you said, weddings and stuff, how many weeks usually you allocate for this type of project?
It really does depend on the project itself, and the budget and everything like that. But one of our bigger projects ended up going over a couple of months, because it started with one project that kind of blended into another project and blended into another project. They obviously liked our work, otherwise we wouldn't have come back. But yeah, and other projects we've smashed out within a week. So it really does depend what the client is wanting. And it's something that we definitely had to learn to do, seeing as like before this I was in uni, and before, like around uni and in high school, I was working at McDonald's. So it was like, it's definitely something different, especially when you're owning your own business. You have to lay out the timelines. So it was a bit of a learning curve, but we're definitely onto it now, and we love it. We love it.
Yeah, it looks like you are enjoying it, so that's just awesome. Alrighty, thanks so much for that, Paige. I'm actually going to ask you, if you don't mind, stick with us for a little bit longer, for a few more minutes. If I can have Anthony and Dean join us as well, and let's have a look at the questions. I'm sure I could actually saw quite a few coming through.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, everyone's pretty interested, and the whole VFX thing's pretty cool at the moment, isn't it? Like everyone's frothing on Marvel, and I watched one of the X-Men movies the other day and I kind of forgot how good it was, I got a bit stoked to see Tony Stark back at it again today. But speaking of that, with industry and VFX, there was a bit of a discussion on here that I'd love to get your touch on, Dean, about sort of visual effects in film and how that's sort of incorporating more and more these days. I saw you write some stuff there, but do you mind having a chat about how visual effects works in film these days and how important it is?
Yeah. Any film you see at the cinema will have visual effects integrated in it. Every film nowadays. So long gone are the days where everything is shot and it's in the can and then it's all pieced together in the edit and it's distributed in the cinema. You will always have some manner of touch-ups, some manner of matte paintings, set extensions, wire removals, and particularly with the large AAA, big budget films too. we're talking hundreds of people are working on that in post-production. Now, that's not to say that that's only where the work is. There are, and due in part to COVID as well, there are a lot of international productions coming down to our shores to shoot here. That is for Adelaide, because we had Mortal Kombat shoot there recently. We've also got a lot of television work that occurs here in Melbourne. Sydney's got Fox Studios, and Queensland is just the bee's knees right now when it comes to international feature film work. So if you're looking to be, a crew member, study here, move to Queensland. It's nice and sunny up there too. In regards to VFX, well, as I said, we've got visual effects companies that are established in the southeast, shoreline of Australia. So Adelaide's got Rising Sun, which is one of the biggest companies Australia has. Melbourne's got Method and Luma. Sydney has Animal Logic and Industrial Light and Magic. The company behind Star Wars they've set up shop, and word on the grapevine is that Weta is set to open up in New South Wales as well next year, which is big news, right? That's Peter Jackson's visual effects studio. So things are looking very good, and Docklands is getting a nice big extension, and we've also got LED volumes that are being built around town as well now for virtual production purposes. So it's hip to be a digital artist nowadays. Absolutely.
Does AIT's film course have plans to incorporate sort of virtual production, stuff like that?
Yes, it does have plans. Absolutely. And they will be incorporated as hyper advanced units that you'll be running alongside in the Forge in due time. Yeah, and I think I'm quite responsible for a lot of that too. Amazing.
There was a question for Paige as well. How was your experience as your intern, as an intern at Matchbox Pictures?
Yeah, it was amazing. We were kind of booked in to be interns, we being myself, Monique, another AIT graduate, and Bailey, another AIT graduate, which we're all doing our small business together. So we were kind of booked in to go there for a couple of weeks, and our internship actually got extended to be, I think it ended up being about 5 weeks in total. And Bailey ended up getting paid work and on another job with Simon and Tony McCutcheon. So it was an amazing few weeks that we had there. We definitely got some hands-on experience in set dressing, so helping with props and setting up the scenes. And we got to make a few props as well, which was a bit of fun. And basically just do whatever was needed from the art department. Whether that was back at the office or on set. Majority of my time I spent on set, which was amazing. But yeah, it was really fun.
Amazing. When you're on the set of Nowhere Boys, was that part of your internship, or was that separate after internship?
Yeah, that was the internship. Yeah, on Nowhere Boys.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess that's another question. Well, it leads me to another question. What sort of equipment did you work with while you were studying at AIT, Paige?
Oh, all sorts. There was lots of different kind of equipment that we had. There was lots of different cameras and sound equipment. We worked with the Zoom kind of microphones and Rode mics and everything like that. That was our first introduction into that kind of audio equipment, because we had obviously we had our own DSLR cameras that definitely weren't up to the standard of what AIT had, but the audio side of things, that was great to get to know and learn all of that, which is definitely needed. Even if you're just studying film, it's about the audio side as well. So that was a big eye opener. And even the green screen room and the soundproof audio room, that was amazing just to get in touch with that kind of equipment and different ways of filming with the green screen and everything like that. And obviously the computers, the Macs, the Adobe editing suite and the Adobe Creative Cloud that we were using, which we still use today. That's what we use with all of our clients and everything like that. Yeah.
Awesome. We had a fair few questions before early in the day. It's actually been coming through. It's one of the more popular questions about how much you have to know before you start. Had you had a crack at film at all, or done anything before you started with us, or did you start from absolutely nothing?
I had a little bit of, like, in high school, I did media in year 11 and 12. So I had that experience behind me, which was kind of what got me into the mindset of, okay, this is what I want to do. But that experience, I made I think a couple of short films and an advertisement. So I did that with my own little equipment that I had back then. But besides that, that was all of my experience, really. And by the time we got to AIT, it was like, it wasn't so advanced that it was really daunting or anything, and it wasn't so basic either that I was like, why am I in this course? I already know this, or anything like that. It was the perfect, like, what you would expect from a university degree to be, starting from the basics and working your way up. And I think that's what really helped me too.
I'd like to elaborate on this too. I've been doing this for a while now, and I've had a wide array of students come through with varying experiences and skill sets, and we generally cater for the lowest common denominator, which is the assumption that you are fairly fresh and that you have an interest in film. If you have an interest in a passion and not understand why you are studying what you are studying and why you are there, then you will inevitably do well, regardless of the fact that if you haven't made anything in the past, because you have an affinity for that sort of work, and you have, a general affinity for the technology that we use. If you have pre-existing experience and you come from a media with media experience from high school, then you will find that you have a bit of a head start, and that you'll sink into the content a lot easier, a lot quicker, and you'll be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Amazing. There were some other questions, Dean. Do you know many students that have ended up landing jobs overseas? Anyone that you've taught?
There's so many.
Really?
There's so many. I've had so many students, and I can't track where they are. But I do know that there have been there is a relatively high number of employed students now, and I do actually know of one student that I did used to teach. His name was Khaled, and he has recently been employed as a junior animator at a animation visual effects company, and I offered him my congratulations. And as a matter of fact, there was a girl named Natalie who I taught in advanced screen production, who's now a roto prep artist for ILM Sydney, and I'm very happy for her. So yeah, I do know a couple of students that have managed to secure jobs that and it's made me very proud. But I don't know everyone. Yeah.
Well, we had another student as well who landed a job at Framestore in London. So it's like a visual effects house as well.
It's a big one too. Yeah. And they got studios all over the world. They've got a bit of a global reach. So congratulations to them.
Awesome. There's another sort of question that pops up heaps as well about how 2D and 3D is incorporated in film. Paige, did you do electives around 2D or 3D, or what? How did you construct your electives?
Yeah, I did. I did some 2D animation and a little bit of 3D, which was really good to get to know the animation side of things. which we have also incorporated into our business, at least basic 2D animation. So that was really good to get to know it. And yeah, it was definitely something that I wasn't sure if I would be interested in. And it was challenging. It was challenging, at least for me. But I ended up really enjoying it, and I still do it today. So yeah.
Awesome. Do you teach much 2D, 3D based stuff, Dean? Or not really?
No, I do not. That's why we have specialist 2D, 3D lecturers like Adam and Nick. The extent of my 2D animation teaching is motion design in motion graphics, but I have not had the pleasure of teaching 2D animation to students. I'm in my own lane.
It's okay. What's your favourite movie at the moment, Dean?
No, I can't. You can't ask me that question.
No, it's okay.
I have a favorite franchise, so to speak, and I'd like to. Obviously, big on Star Wars, and I've been watching. I'm actually about to start watching the live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, and I just secured my tickets to June at IMAX on December the 12th. So I'm hoping to say that will be my newest favorite film, if I can hear it by the end of it.
Dean, one more thing I wanted to quickly ask you, because lots of students usually inquire about this. Obviously, some of them, they have 1 to 2 years before they will be starting with us or other providers to that extent. Would there be any recommendation where they can start now when it comes to program software for editing, and how to kind of edit the video and stuff like that? Would there be any recommendation from your end?
Oh, of course. We use the full Adobe suite throughout the entire course. So the biggest and most reoccurring softwares that you will use for video editing is Adobe Premiere. That's just it. You're going to use it. Because you will learn how to use it and utilize the basics of it in shooting and editing, and then from there you will keep coming back to it because it will keep coming back every time you need it for cinematography, screen production, advanced screen production, so on and so forth. And because it's a pretty good standalone suite, because you can do color adjustment work in it as well, you don't necessarily need to learn anything else. If you're learning 3D, different thing, that's Maya. If you're learning 2D, I believe it's Toon Boom. But if you're in film, Premiere is very easy to pick up, but it's not just the software that makes the difference. It's understanding timing and understanding how to edit, understanding, what makes drama and things like that. These are things that we obviously do our best to try and teach you, but it comes from within. You know what I mean? You can't teach someone art. That's something that or creativity. They come up with that themselves. We teach them the buttons, but the creativity is all yours.
Thanks so much. This also reminds me, actually, when speaking about Adobe Premiere, because I watch these reviews on MacBooks and, they questioning if it's going to run smoothly or not. So just for everybody to be aware, we obviously have labs in the campus. So both campuses are equipped with Macs and Windows devices, so desktops. So don't feel that you need to invest too much or heavily in this when you're starting to study. Obviously, later you can decide to invest more for your own sake as well, but everything will be pretty much done on the campus level.
If anyone would make any personal investment, I would highly recommend that, if you really want to take this as a career of yours, then get yourselves a camera. Get yourselves an entry-level DSLR. And, you can go to places like Officeworks and JB, or even, Boxing Day's coming up, isn't it? So consider that, you know what I mean? That is really going to be the thing, that if you have your own personal camera, even though you can utilize the school's equipment, if you have your own and you are shooting in your spare time and you are practicing, that is the best thing you can do for yourself. The software is secondary, right? If you're learning film, you're going to learn how to shoot.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Dean, for that. Thank you so much, Paige, again for joining us. Thanks, Anthony, for the questions.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks everyone for joining for